Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the TechGig Technical Hiring Conclave 2.0. I am your host, Sukriti Adavanshi, and I'm back with another edition of the Conclave where you will witness yet another set of cognitive leaders and experts talk about embracing the digital ecosystem for hiring the best tech talent. With 300 plus live audience, 8 industry experts, and super amazing trivia quizzes, in the last Conclave, we've discussed how in today's competitive job market, shortlisting and sourcing tech talent has become a task. Industry leaders from Suntech Business Solutions, ITC Infotech, Conduent, ZS, and Dunnhumby emphasized on the importance of skill-assessed profiles in building a strong talent pipeline. They highlighted the hot jobs in the market and what exactly the brands or employers they're looking for. In today's virtual conclave, you will see another set of industry stalwarts talk about the methods, strategies, and the impact that comes along with the entire recruitment process. Also, we engaged with our audience, with some amazing trivia questions, as I mentioned earlier, and we had, a very, very nice engagement with our audience in the last conclave, and we thought of bringing the same to this conclave too. So, as an announcement, before we go ahead and kickstart the entire conclave, there will be two to three sets of segments where you will view links, and you will get a chance to participate in our quizzes, and you're also eligible for winning, 1,000 rupees voucher if you win those quizzes and answer the questions. All you need to do is watch a video by a given link that will be displaying on the screen, and you need to answer the questions which will be related to the video. So go ahead as they come up. Please ensure that you've signed up to, take those quizzes and win prizes with us, along with, of course, the insightful discussion that we are looking forward to today. So, we started with the major discussions around the technical hiring, of course. But before we move and, we see the events unfold in the coming segments today, I would like to, take you back to the time, and let's have a look at an interesting glimpse of our last conclave. Can we have the Hello everyone, welcome to the TechGig Technical Hiring Conclave 2021. I am Sukriti Adavanshi, a proud host of this event.
In the virtual world of working, I feel that we all are having those challenges in the process of hiring.
Technology for technology hiring.
Of a platform in a place with pre-verified and pre-assessed talent ready for you to be interviewed. TG Pro.
I don't think tech will need my recommendation, because the tech community, the developers and the data scientists and this whole community, if you look at it, right, it's kind of leading platform.
So far, my experience with TechGig Pro has been very pleasant in the sense that I am able to get the results that I want.
Why we built TechGig Pro. So we were already, in a sense, working on some of the problems that the IT recruitment industry was facing. But there was a fundamental thought there. The thought was, can we do better?
The need of the hour is to have pre-assessed candidates. Those pre-assessed candidates could be found in both ways with TechGig. If you want a little employer branding, like Manoj said, so Dunnhumby has been doing a lot of engagements with us. They primarily do it for employer branding and then finding out the correct candidate, which could be done with the format of an hackathon or a coding contest. And the second one is not doing any employer branding, but just reaching out to candidates who've already been pre-assessed on our platform. So both those things can be incorporated depending on the kind of time somebody has for hiring. And candidates, of course, come on TechGig to learn, compete, and grow. It's an engagement platform for technologists and become very easy for companies like Dunnhumby, ITC to hire from us.
Wasn't it super interesting, folks? Okay, with this, we will move forward and bring in some conversations for you now. So TechGig has been a pioneer in helping corporates not only hire the best tech talent, but also build a great brand value in the market. And we've helped the biggest, tech giants, Cognizant, Geo, UiPath, and Persistent, of course, on board techies at the world's biggest coding competition, Code Gladiators. With raging participation of more than 3 lakh in solutions to the real world problems in TechGig, TechGig is aiding both the candidates as well as the corporates to the best possible exposure in the market. And undoubtedly, that Code Gladiators is now the biggest technology event that brings together both the coders, the top IT companies, and technology leaders on one platform. Our next guest is someone who will share his experience of being a part of Code Gladiators and how it has solved business problems for them. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Samir Ventre, the Chief People Officer from Persistent Systems.
Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, Samir, very good afternoon. We can hear you. How are you?
Very well. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me for this session.
Thank you for being here, Samir. So, we spoke about how our association has been so wonderfully done that we've helped each other grow. We've helped each other in all possible manners to, in a collaboration that has helped both of us grow. So I will quickly move on to the questions that I would want to ask you precisely, Samir. So to begin with, that how is your association with Code Gladiator specifically helped to showcase your brand value in the market?
Okay, let me step a little back when you look at when we started our association with Code Gladiators, when it was primarily a platform which we looked at for actually energizing our internal teams, looking at seeing that how do you compete with the best coders across the country and across different companies, come together and prove that you are sort of somebody who are the code geeks of the country and who can be recognized with. And that's where we really started out. And it was exciting for our people to see me part of it, recognize that doing some good coding. But when we saw that it started from internal, but when people externally also started looking at it, hey, here's a company where the really coders, the programmers who want to do some geeky work, some different work, that's how the brand changed for us. And that is how it really helped us. As you would all know, Persistent has been the pioneer in leading what is the India's largest hackathon, which is the Smart India Hackathon, which the government of India runs. We have been the backbone behind it for many years. So TechGig really helped us enhance that branding, that hackathons and branding can really put it all together. That is how these whole things have helped us both internally as well as externally.
Thanks for that, Samir. The next one, how has it helped you in your recruitment market strategy?
So see, if you look at it currently, at least when you know the recruitment market, people say it's a war of talent, a war for talent, but I think it's actually a talent famine. There is just not enough talent available in the market from the demands which all the IT companies have, whether it is Persistent or the other companies altogether. So in these times, when you want to attract the best of the talent, how do you provide them a platform where we can quickly assess themselves in a way where they feel comfortable and don't feel imposed or burdened while giving the assessments or trying to do these platforms? So we have been looking at TechGig to help us do our recruitment, hiring in that way. And that has been a very smooth experience for all the people or candidates who are coming on to wanting to be part of the Persistent family. So that's been one part of it. Of course, second is that when you have the pre-screen candidates which come, which helps us because with the demand supply gap, screening of candidate, interviewing of candidates is also a burden for the organization. So pre-screening candidates being available to us helps us fasten our process and get there faster. So these are two areas which it has really helped us.
Thank you, Samir. The third one, what kind of challenges or business problems to say have been solved at Code Gladiators for you?
Okay, we spoke about the recruitment part of it and the supply part of it, but there's another area where we have been using the TechGig platform and the Code Gladiators together is on the learning and development side. how these platforms can really help enhance the learning, whether it is working on some code, some solving problems outside, or using that platform for our internal assessments. So Code Gladiators and TechGig has also helped us on an area which sort of has been the secondary focus for TechGigs, but I think it is another area which you can look at in the long run for us to grow.
Wonderful. One word that perfectly describes Code Gladiators for you.
Trustworthy partner.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm happy to hear that. So Samir, I had a wonderful time. Thank you so much for this quick conversation and helping us with your experience of Code Gladiators. Wonderful to have you on the show with us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm sorry I could not really stay for the full show because I have sort of a lot of things going on in parallel, but it was a pleasure to meet all of you and be on the show. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Samir. All right, now let's move on to the next segment. Folks, as I mentioned, there's a small trivia quiz for you. There'll be a quick link appearing on your screen. Please click onto that. You'll have a video and then you'll have to answer questions related to that. Can we have the link, please? All right, folks, so here are the link. Here is the link for you. All you need to do is watch the video, answer the questions, and you will be eligible for vouchers worth ₹1,000. Click on the login button, sign up by entering your details. You will get an invitation from TechGig to participate in the contest. And just click on the participate now, and then you can go forward, attend the quiz. Also, this quiz will be live till 5 p.m. today, and you just have 2 attempts. Ensure that you answer all the questions within those 2 attempts that you have. And we will be declaring the results on our social media platforms by end of this week. So go ahead, participate. You might not know, you will just win some amazing vouchers today. And not just 1, maybe 2, 3. Go ahead, participate. You just have 5 minutes, folks, for this. And then we'll be moving on to the next segment. So the clock is ticking. It's 2:43. Let's see how many of you would be able to make it up. I hope the link is accessible to all of you. If not, then you can also visit the Speed High website in order to, participate in the contest. I mentioned this will be live till 5 p.m. today. So in case if you're not able to make it up within this 5 minutes of time that we've given you today, you can actually attempt it later. It's a very simple thing. You just need to be very observant while you watch the video, and then you need to answer. Some of you have already cracked through and you are answering the questions now. You just have 1 more minute and then we'll move on to the next segment, folks. It's 2:44.
TechGig Pro. So TechGig Pro is a pre-assessed profile. It is also a verified profile. So when we say pre-verified, it is a profile that has been verified by the TechGig team, and it's someone who's looking for a job. It is someone who's specifically interested in the job listing that you have. Pre-assessed means the user, the profile has been validated in terms of his skill proficiency in the skills that you are looking at. So those are 2 fundamental keywords which are there when it comes to the TechGig profile. The advantage there is that it helps you screen faster. So when you look at a typical resume, what does it has? It has work experience. It has the basic profile of the candidate. It has the education. That is a self-certification. It is the candidate saying that this is something that I have done. TG Pro profile has, in contrast to a usual CV, it has a history of the contests that you have done. It has your performance in each of those contests that you have participated in. And it also gives you a benchmark for the skill that you are looking at versus the entire industry. So that, in a sense, is a more objective way of looking at a candidate for a skill that you are looking to hire.
All right, so that was it. Let's move. I hope you had a chance to answer the questions. Now we will move to our next segment, of course. To actually talk about it, I will straight away call our panelists who are here with me to discuss the onboarding best tech talent, define the 3S factors of the hiring process. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our eminent panelists for today, Vijay Sivaram, CEO, Quess IT Staffing, Shyamakant Mishra, Head Talent Acquisition, India, APAC, AMDOCS, Sunil Sankar, Vice President, Human Resources, OpenText, and Kanwal Kaul, Director, People and Transformation Talent Acquisition from NatWest Group, India. So thank you so much for joining in. I would also like to inform the audience that I had another eminent speaker amongst us, Savita, Hortikar, Head of Recruitment from Thoughtworks, India, but she could not make it up for the event because of her health conditions. So nevertheless, we will move forward with the discussion today. So thank you so much for being here, gentlemen. Before we actually move towards the main discussion, I would actually, quickly want an opening remark from each one of you. So we'll begin with you.
Yeah, so I think it's a pleasure to be part of this panel discussion, and thank you for inviting me or including me here. It's a great opportunity to connect with some of the technical talent out there, and also some of the HR professionals. I'm looking forward to learning from each other, from Vijay, Shyamakant, and Kanwal, and others, and all that in terms of how each organization approaches it. Each organization has their own methodology of approaching the talent, approaching the hiring. That it is. This is predominantly a talent market. Essentially, the process has to be designed to suit the organization as well as to meet the candidate expectations as well. So it's a very tightrope walk. I've been in this technology industry for a very long time, gone through various experiences in the past, and I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you during this discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Sunil. Vijay?
Very good afternoon to all of you, and thank you so much for including me here. But just to take on what Sunil said, I think this is a employee-led market. In my company, I lead over 1,000 recruiters today, and all 1,000 recruiters today hire technology professionals. And you can imagine the kind of connects that we build every day. And to do that, I think we've realized that the market scenarios have become so aggressive from an employee standpoint that they not only deal with multiple offers, but they've improved their ability to negotiate with corporates. They have battling the line between career and compensation. Corporates are battling the line between compensation and speed and careers, etc. So it's very, very interesting to see this. I do feel sometimes bad that this may be seen as societal greed in a way, but I think these are real times, and as organizations evolve during these junctures, I think you'll start seeing organizations involve themselves into technology improvements, into process improvements, and more importantly, candidate experience movements. I think, and that's what we are seeing across companies, and looking forward to being part of the discussion and learning from everyone else.
Thanks, Vijay. Shyamakant?
Hello, everybody. A warm good afternoon. Pretty much, I think Pune is going through a good weather. I'm just hoping that everybody is keeping healthy and safe. So first of all, thank you, Srikriti. Thank you, the team TechGig, for inviting me and giving this opportunity to talk to this platform. And as just Sunil mentioned, I think I'm looking forward to learn a lot of things from this cohesive discussion. And good to see, our partner like Quess is also joining us. But as I think the previous speaker just mentioned in this, there is nothing called war of talent. I completely agree. I think the talent is already won. It's not that we are fighting for the talent. The important aspect is we have to build the talent. That's what the mantra we all need to take. But as we move ahead in the panel discussion, I'm looking forward to a very, very engaging discussion with all of you. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Kanwal, we'll move to you now.
Sure. Hey, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be here. First of all, I hope all of you and your loved ones are doing all right. I think, from my perspective, of course, as everybody said, I'm absolutely looking forward to have some great perspectives, learn from all of you. Everybody's talking about war of talent, right? I think the war of talent is over. We are in a battle of skills time because it's a very skills-driven market, which is why the assessment, the pre-assessed candidates, the skills sort of accuracy is so important, right? And I'll just say there is no one best way to do recruiting. What works extremely well for a regional healthcare organization may be disastrous for a multinational software company. And processes that are appropriate for hiring a new college graduate are much different than those used for higher executives as well, right? So, but companies, today that are most sort of have the most successful recruiting processes do have one thing in common. In my view, they have thought through a series of critical recruiting design questions, and answers to these questions in the unique form for their respective organization sort of makes it, their process to be really right or really not so right in terms of, candidates outside seeing an association to sort of, be coming and joining those organizations around. So there is no good talent, bad talent. It's just about how correct you are in your, tone in terms of, who you are as an organization and which kind of talent do you want to attract as right for your organization. So yeah, so I'm totally looking forward to the conversation. The businesses are already thinking in 4 Bs. The buy, the borrow, the build, the bots. It'll be interesting to see what the panel thinks around all of the technology space specifically, though. Yeah, so looking forward. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you so much. I think that gave us a very, very interesting opening to our discussion today. I will quickly move on to the main questions that I would want to know, insights of. So to begin with, what are the mediums, used to outreach both the active and the passive job seekers? And how would you define the criticality of sourcing, shortlisting, and screening in this entire process? So we will begin with Shyamakant. I would want to know this from you, Shyamakant.
So thank you, Sukruti. I think I'm going to address the first question, as you said. How are we looking to build various talent? I think, the year we've been seeing is it's all about how the talent is behaving. And I think in my over 1.5 decade of career, maybe I can coin this last 2 years and the current year is one of the toughest year when it comes to attracting talent. One way is we have got those traditional, energizers for attracting talent, be it you use an employee referral, you have your own database, or you partner with some of the vendors who are in this area and kind of start embarking on the journey of getting your talent. But if you look at in the introspect, the second thing which is really coming up quite heavily, and I've experienced, is all about our people analytics. Over the years, what we have done is that we have massaged our own data to find a trend between the kind of hiring we are doing and the kind of attrition which is happening. So we have kind of moved beyond just from a skills and experience and location perspective to build a persona of what we are hiring. Now that is essentially helping us to predict through our people analytics right at the time that, what is the business demand is going to come. Because as I said, we have got our past data, we are doing the analysis, we have got attrition, we are kind of massaging data, and we are kind of combining both the things to come up with a sort of a success model, which will give us an edge that what is the next 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 months of hiring demand I have, and then how accordingly I'm going to build my talent pool. So I don't know if the answers are lengthy or not, but I'll try to make it crispy. And of course, I'll like to hear from other panel, but this is our
Sunil, I'll move to you now. Thank you, Shyamakant. Sunil, I'll move to you now.
Yeah, so I think I get the point that what Shyamakant was trying to explain. Every organization is in a constant process of looking at progressively looking at or prospectively looking at futuristically what type of talent to acquire and what should be the strategy and things like that. Sukruti, you started the question with how do we attract the active and the passive. I get a feeling that in today's world, that classification is a little redundant. because all employers, what they are trying to do is to continuously attract the top talent or the best talent always. And I think the classification is all people are either actively active or passively active. Most of them are actively looking out for, and they are looking for triggers from various employers in terms of what is that they have, they have to offer, which is different from what I am doing, what they are doing currently, kind of thing. So it's a very constant, how do I say, constant interest from their side to continue to explore. So gone are the days where employers are just looking to identify a portal or a process from where we can tap a few resumes and then continue the interview and all that. It is a constant process of attracting the attention of the talent so that the pipeline itself is a virtual pipeline out there. Okay. The entire talent pool is a virtual talent pool, and that creates a huge funnel. So as and when there are opportunities, it catches the attention of the right talent, and then we continue to engage them through a selection process. That's how I look at it. So the job or the task of a talent acquisition manager or a talent acquisition function has moved away from identifying the resumes and conducting the interviews to continuously defining which is the target talent population and how do I continuously be in the top of their mind, so that my funnel is always full with the right set of candidates. So talent branding has emerged as as the focus area rather than the traditional recruiting process. I'm not saying that one will replace the other, but the effort from the organization is spent more in terms of positioning the organization better in the minds of future talent, defining which is that future talent. Is that early talent? Is it a niche talent? Is there a diverse talent? And how do I continuously be there on the top of their mind? Is the name on the game, is what I feel. I pause here.
So it's like building the brand rapport and then going out in the market in order to find the right talent. Sunil, I get that from you. Kanwal, I'll move to you now. Can you just help me understand how critical is that, sourcing, shortlisting, and screening? Because Shyamakant and Sunil, spoke about the talent pipeline and other prospects are very critical. But those three steps, the 3 S factors that we are trying to address here to begin with, how important are those, and how much time do they take? Can you just throw some light onto those elements, please?
Sure, happy to. Before I get there, I can just add to what the conversation is, because that's very, very important, what we're discussing right now. I think it's important to know how you sort of, look at your active and passive candidates today. So if I could just spend a couple of minutes on that, I just wanted to share some of the views and how we do it at NatWest. It would just be helpful. So I think the way we attract talent at NatWest Group is really by telling our story authentically and consistently. And we use all of our digital media, like our career site, Facebook, LinkedIn, all our channels to share stories about our values, vision, employee experiences. And if you, for example, visit our social and digital properties, you'll get a good sense of what it means to work at NatWest. Which goes back to the point I was making around association of the right talent. There is no good or bad talent. It's about, what is the right talent for, let's say, an international large bank like ours, right? So we do share stories about the work we do in diversity, inclusion, equity, sustainability, learning, the awards we won, loads of employee stories about how they've experienced each of these facets really while working with NatWest. And we also share insights into our businesses, our leaders, and the work we do. And of course, we are a very purpose-led strategy bank. So we really mileage on the purpose that, we sort of really talk about. For active job seekers, our social and digital platforms are really utilized to talk about jobs they'd be interested in a very targeted manner, as Sunil was talking about. It has to be very targeted. And we also use demographic targeting to sort of ensure that the audiences are relevant and they, are only shown opportunities that they'd be interested in. That's really for your active job seekers. So when you look at your passive job seekers, like you said, right, everybody's passively active as well. We build audiences based on match between our employee value propositions and audience interest. And we keep them really engaged with work we're doing in this space. So we do build and maintain engagement to ensure they have all the information they need when it comes to time for them to apply for a job. And they should have, sort of NatWest at the top of the recall if they want to work for a large international bank. And we do, of course, and as others said, the things of past as very traditional. We do also utilize all our ERP, which allows colleagues to refer people they know to the organization, apart from being the best, of course, quality profile generator with less offer drops and high retention. I think a high referral rate of a source as a channel is also a very good indicator of your culture, your belongingness, your passion about the brand, and a strong EVP. And we, of course, use all the job boards, run hackathons, craft strategic early career talent intervention, run reskilling programs, develop internal pipeline, direct sourcing, so on and so forth. But I think specifically when you speak about the sourcing bit, I think you cannot hire the best candidates for the job if they never apply in the first place, right? So sourcing candidates is one of the key differentiators of highly successful recruiting process and engine, in my view. And some of the companies that really excel in finding and attracting the best candidate not only improve their own productivity for their own workforce, but they also deprive their competition from finding and securing top quality talent. And, there are a wide variety of approaches for sourcing candidates, whether it's employer branding, which of course is quite important in the time today, building talent pools proactively, which of course stems from you, first of all, knowing what exactly you want to hire. And because it's a bit of a big recruiting problem, which sits on the business side, is about, what exactly does the business want and how soon can they sort of tell you what they want, when they want, how many do they want, which location do they want. I think because your entire strategy gets built on that. There is job postings, there are professional recruiting, social networking, career pathing, job auctioning. There are several sort of approaches from a sourcing candidate perspective, secretly. And it depends, like I said, unique to your organizational context and the business problem you're trying to solve, and which region you operate in, which targeted candidate pool you're after. I think it all sort of is important to have all of that crafted before.
Vijay, I will move to you. You mentioned in the very beginning that you have 1,000 recruiters under you, and they look at various prospects. What's your insight here that you would want to add?
So I'll just add, because I think everyone covered a lot of valid points as well. I just like to term that the times of the last 2 decades or more, the largest sourcing ecosystem was reactive. So you would wait for a JD to start work. Your stakeholders would send you JDs and then you start work. I think we are migrating towards a more proactive system with an unleashed and lesser bench system available because of the high attrition that's happening. Organizations which enjoyed 4 to 6% of bench now are struggling to keep even 1% bench. So how do you ensure that you keep that virtual bench going? So I think proactive sourcing mechanisms are going to be the next big thing in terms of how sourcing is done. So to give you an example, we built a talent COE under 5 towers, say for example, full stack, DevOps or something like that. And these were a bunch of recruiters that did not work on a JD, but only sourced candidates based on the skill that is required, and started populating a huge funnel of candidates. To what Sunil said, you create a huge funnel of candidates. But here, you suddenly start creating also certain parameters, like how soon can they join? What are the skills they have that they're good at? What are the skills they don't have, right? So do they have an Angular? Do they have a Node.js? So you start building a funnel of candidates that are proactively sourced. Now, the negative part of it is that they may not fit a JD exactly. But that comes to the next point. When you proactively source candidates, while the whole world talks about upskilling, the real order of day within most organizations here today is about near skilling. So if they have ABC, can you add D&E to them? And this whole proactive sourcing helps create that near skilling platform as well. So it kind of elevates your bench proposition internally and ensures that you're always having some flow of candidates. Second, just to what Kanwal mentioned, I think gone are the days where talent acquisition as a process is subdued to 1 or 2 or 3 areas, like employer referral, portals or LinkedIn, etc. I think today it's an ecosystem play. You will have to have some RPOs running. You'll have to have contractual hiring happening at one side. You'll have to have gig platforms happening on one side. You'll have to have the automated systems such as your bench management systems, your employer referral systems, you'll have to start getting a lot of talent branding. So today, as an HR or a TA head, it is not about having 2, 3 channels, but a multitude of channels that will give you, each of it gives some contribution as such. And I think somewhere in the last 1 year or so, organizations have started to realize it. It's ensuring that your chances improve as you de-risk from just 1 or 2 areas as such. Back to you.
Thanks, Vijay. I think that helps. And as we were speaking of, balancing and embracing the entire digital ecosystem, as Sunil mentioned that there are various channels, you'll have to maintain the brand repo. I think with the digital mediums being used, I think exhaustively these days, I think it's very important for us to maintain that balance with the corporate as brands and the candidates. So some valid points made. Thank you so much. Shyamakant, I'm going to get back to you. Just help me understand that in your organization or in its industry perspective, that how do you minimize the overall turnaround time in the entire hiring process? Because it's like a 3 month or a 4 month. It's defined for every organization in terms of what position you're hiring, right? So what kind of a TAT do you look at and how do you look at it?
Absolutely. Now, of course, in this challenging time, turnaround time is one thing which I have seen. The demand is always yesterday. You talk to a hiring manager, the project will come, but the resource is always needed as of yesterday. So as much as you try to bring it down, it is not sufficient. And that's probably one of the biggest nightmares the talent head or the HR kind of, stay with. But you're right. I think, my friends out here were talking about a proactive hiring. So if we kind of tied back to the concept of proactive hiring versus the turnaround time, it's directly proportionate. As I said before also, once you understand what is the persona, what is the skill and experience you are trying to hire, the platform that we are trying to build together with the hiring manager is that we not just wait for the demand to come. Because that's what the argument, the manager will say, hey, you already knew this is what my project, this is what my skills, but you just waited for that so-called requisition to come and start hiring. So we have trying to little bit to move out of that. How we are trying to move out of that? We are trying to address various source of hiring, as just Vijay also mentioned. It is like which all platform contributes to what. And I'll give you a classic example what we have developed off late. It's called a talent magnet kind of a strategy. Now, this is a kind of a webinar which we beam. TechGig is of course one of our official partners for that. We bring the experts from our own community of the technical people who could be the hiring managers, who could be somebody who is a subject matter expert on a particular skills or technologies. And we develop in-house content for them with their help, and we beam it through the social media, through TechGig, through other platforms. And we conduct these webinars. Now, the webinars has got time to it. For example, let's say I'm expecting some kind of a project in a particular skill A. I will time to do a webinar much ahead of time. So that what I'm trying to gain out of it, I'm trying to first connect with a relevant audience, be it relevant or not relevant, that's a different story. But I'm trying to also give it back to the society in terms of my content, in terms of my expert knowledge. And in that turn, I'm trying to attract those passive or active candidates to me. So that's a funnel which I'm already started building. Now, the moment I've got a similar kind of requirement coming up, I will directly go to my webinar sessions. I will see the participants. I will see the audience who are engaged with me during the course of webinars, and I'll try to kind of generate interest from them. So this is one way of to ensuring that I don't wait for acquisition. I start building my talent pipeline. But there is also a flip side to it. The flip side is that, look, today, every other company is hiring on every other skills. So I can't guarantee that a bunch of folks who have joined my webinars, they're going to stick to me only, because that's a constant pool which is evolving. Now, that what I have to give it out. I don't have to go and say that, okay, this is my pool, they will be with me, and when I need, I'll bring them. No. So it is like constantly you keep on delivering, you keep on giving back to the society, but in the long run, you will kind of realize that you've been creating your own followers through these skills-based webinars. So that is one of kind of reducing the turnaround time. And of course, I do agree with other experts panels also, with other hiring contribution coming from the gig economy. One of the other concepts that we've been developing is back to work, where we are actually going back to the workforce who would have taken a sabbatical of X number of years. We are going back, we are trying to do some workshop with them so that, eventually when we need them, maybe we'll be able to attract them to our own AMDOCS family. So over to you, Sukriti. Hope I was able to kind of answer what you asked.
Yes, Shyamakant, thank you so much for that. I think that really helps me understand of what, as AMDOCS you're doing. And of course, one of the ways that we always try to figure out, apart from what, the industry is doing, because it's time you think out of the box and pick up ways and, basically create a legacy for others also to follow in order to do something new. And I'm sure the organizations are in constant process of evolution in order to fix this issue of hiring in time. So thank you so much for that, Shyamakant. I will now move to Vijay. Vijay, you were explaining and telling us about the skills that appears on the resume and the actual skill that they have, maybe the kind of skills they try to match of what they have and what a particular JD, a job description says out there. So help me understand that how do you differentiate between the real skill assessment versus the skill written on the resume? Because I'm sure you're into such a business wherein this is a very crucial part of sourcing people. So how do you exactly differentiate between the two?
I can start by saying it's a crystal ball moment. If you were to, search for a CV that says Java, you'll possibly get the entire market. Okay. So I think I'll break that into two parts. One is that there has been a lot of hybridization that's happening from a JD standpoint. A lot of hiring managers today are trying to pile up as many skills into one JD as much they can. So then as recruiters or as HR teams, it becomes important for us to understand which are the most important skills that hiring manager wants to do. And how would that person be working and on what programs or what languages or what skills they would be requiring as such. The second part, I think with the pandemic, a huge amount of organizations actually enter the market today by doing these technical assessments as such. And I think some of them are fabulously great. I think today we run close to around 3,500 technical assessments even before a CV is submitted to a customer. So in many ways, we have reduced that time for a customer to spend on the technical assessment, and they can go straight to what you may call as an L2 interview. Historically, you would have the partner to source a candidate, then you would have an L1 interview and an L2 interview, then an offer. The technical assessment platforms today actually allow you to skip that L1 because there's a kind of neutral play on validating. And these are surprisingly a lot of freelancers, a lot of professionals who actually come and be part of these platforms. So it's kind of almost genuine as well. And a lot of proctoring systems to ensure that there's no impersonation as well. So to answer your question, I think today, technical assessments is still a human element. You could run a lot of coding challenges without doubt. I think there is a significant amount of skills that you can still test today without having a physical interview happening. But there are a few areas where you still need to validate, especially when a coding scenario goes wrong or certain challenges around the coding scenarios. So I think the fact that today a portion of that assessment can be automated significantly reduces the time. So in other words, I think technical assessments are here to stay. Just CV-based reviewing skills, I think, would be a big risk if somebody has just written something. I think, and if an organization is hiring based on that, I think the risk is pretty high. Back to you. Did we lose her?
I don't know whether Sukriti lost.
No, we are with you.
Yeah, so Vijay, actually, you made a good point. In fact, am I audible?
Yeah, you are. You are.
Okay, so it definitely has to be multiple methods combined together based on your talent strategy and talent requirement. You cannot rely on one approach, to go ahead with the selection process. Just to step back on the previous topic also, and to add on, when we talk about turnaround time, I think gone are the days when the business leaders or HR leaders should measure their turnaround time. I think we should start thinking, will the candidate be measuring the turnaround time that we take once we connected with them till we close it? How fast are we positioning ourselves in their mind? Are we acting fast enough? Are we staying connected? Are we creating a right experience for them? Probably that is the future turnaround time that for the internally measuring in terms of how fast we position a candidate for the interview. Because earlier people used to say that, hey, 3 months, 6 months, a resume, a good profile is a stale resume because they would have got another job. Now I think 1 week or even 3 days, the resume is an interesting profile, probably becomes very stale unless you really act on it. So how fast you act in the talent market, actually creates a good impression or experience for the candidate as well.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. And just to add with the feedback, that's what one of the important area. We just can't sit idle. We need to go back to them with the feedback.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind. You got to keep in mind to Vijay's response. In a real skill versus written skill. Always remember India and China are in a tug of war. Who's got the most forged CVs? And it's a real business problem in a day where you can't, and it's not practical really to respond to every bit, right? Which is where the CRM systems sort of have to be so smart, and you need to, talking to your specific candidate engage that are through your digital tools as well. And like I said, just to sort of get through, this is a real CV. I was once hiring for a CFO, and I was getting some grads CVs into my system as well, right? I mean, so just the opportunity space in that specific era where everybody applies for every job is a bit of a candidate behavior, is detriment to the effort and the capacity of the resources that one would have in the team to sort of get to the right candidate. And in today's time, when you're looking at the solutions where everybody's trying on AI being the buzzword of we will do the top 10 CVs and the stack rank, and you never know. I mean, there are best CVs who may not even appear here just because their language is sort of wordsmith in a way that doesn't attach to your. As Vijay was talking about, everybody sort of hiring manager would put everything that they want. They want a Superman in every JD, but they want to pay a price. Or you want a Mercedes Benz, you are paying for a Maruti essentially, right? I mean, so that's how the attitude is. I think that bit are the real problems of having those forged CVs, and you just can't sort of get to a right assessment, and which is where you cannot just underestimate the human intervention that is required to run a very effective recruiting process as well. Yeah, good points, Vijay.
So sorry, I am back and I had some network issues. I hope you guys can hear me, right?
Yes, go ahead.
Yep, we can.
Okay. So Sunil, I will now come down to you. Vijay spoke about the skill assessment part, and he emphasized onto the various prospects that are being used in the market. I would want to know about the skill benchmarking there in the market, and how important it is, one. And given a choice, would you prefer technology products that cut down the process of candidate screening by just benchmarking their skills? Would that be something that you would be keen on taking?
Okay, happy to explain some of the thoughts. Sukriti, I don't know whether you're still there. So I saw you, going offline, that's why. So see, very valid point. Benchmarking is critical. Access is critical. Benchmarking is critical. I'm adding to what Sivaram was mentioning earlier. It may not be a single tool, single methodology. It could be a combination of different methodologies and tools depending upon the situation or the hiring strategy or the hiring requirement that you have. Say, for instance, OpenText is a technology organization. We build products, and we have a large portion of our engineering run from India, both in Bangalore and Hyderabad. Bulk of our hiring is hardcore technology experts. We expect these people to be very innovative in terms of building new features, new products, and all. And so essentially, if we are not looking for just run-of-the-mill programmers, sorry for the usage of the word, right? We're looking for experts who are doing product engineering, who understands who can even build products futuristic, understand the customer expectation, and make sure that it is built in the most effective or the most innovative manner. So it is not just the skill benchmarking. We also need to look at the competencies to become a product developer or a product engineer. In that sense of the word. So we do, as an organization, we rely on tests to some extent. Essentially, I don't think in today's world, be it test or interview, it is not an elimination strategy at all. Okay, we don't have the luxury to eliminate a lot of people through one methodology, create a filter and then say, hey, only, not really. Actually speaking, that gives the interviewer, if it is a test, that gives an interviewer a good point of conversation to understand why the person was thinking or approaching the logic from this point of view, to understand the programming capability or the programming logic, a project programming competency point of view. He or she will have to have a conversation with the problem-solving competency of the individual. It is not just writing the code, right? You all know in the technology world, it needs to be really building a solution which matters at this point in time. So the path, the approach that they take is also equally or very critical. So, assessment or benchmarking is actually gives a better context to the next level discussions and all that. Okay, so that it is a lot more meaningful. By the way, I always said that we are thinking from organization point of view alone more often. Okay, a candidate also gets a good idea in terms of, okay, is this what they are looking for? And that actually adds to the talent attraction. I feel whoever passes through the selection process in OpenText will, even if they don't get selected, I feel that they will remain looking for opportunities in OpenText because they feel that they went through some of the amazing selection process, and that's what we are looking forward to. And to end the conversation on this particular topic, this benchmarking and the skill assessment, actually speaking, adds a lot of value once even the candidate is selected and becomes the employee. As a hiring manager, I take the person through an assessment series of intro exercises or selection methodologies and all that. Finally, I offer a candidate. So as a hiring manager, I know what are the strengths and the areas that the individual would need support to make the person a lot more effective once they are on the job. So it is very critical to use multi-pronged approach. None of it is a filter by itself. Benchmarking is required. Benchmarking vis-a-vis what we expect and what the candidate has, what the team requires, and what this person brings, into the organization. A benchmarking vis-a-vis in terms of what is the ideal persona. I saw Shyamakant using that word, from a hiring point of view, vis-a-vis what this person is actually, and then helping the individual, upskill and then become a lot more effective after they join. So when we are building a talent for future, we tend to associate with various hiring methodologies and benchmarking exercises, not just a skill, but even from a competency point of view, to assess the best talent. And also to give the right experience to the to the candidate who comes for the interview, because they should, even if they don't get selected, those who get selected should look forward to joining us. Those who are not, unfortunately, should look forward to getting a call back from us because they really liked our assessment methodology, and that's what we focus on usually.
Thanks, Sunil. I think that really adds on to what I really wanted to hear from you. And it does. I mean, when you have a pre-assessed profile or a benchmarked, skill score, you tend to understand how proficient the particular candidate is, or the lot entirely who you pick up is. So I think that precisely cut down to a lot of processes that were involved traditionally and that are involved traditionally. And precisely help you, maybe facilitating the interview direct with the candidate and like maybe onboarding him or her, right? So thank you so much for that, Sunil. I will now move to Kanwal. Kanwal, so all of us spoke about skill assessment, the talent pipeline, the proactive job seeking method, etc., etc. Now, I would want to know from you that how do you spot the best tech talent? Identifying is a very important process, even if we are trying to benchmark or even if we are trying to see a job description and maybe a skill score. So how important, it is, would a pre-assessed profile, as I asked Sunil, would of a candidate be when it comes to identifying the best among the good candidates? It's a very fine line, but yeah, how do you do that?
Yeah, sure. No, good question. So I would sort of not repeat some of the things that I've already said, but I would add in some practical ones in my view. It's important to attract tech talent by letting them know the impact of the job role, right? Instead of just saying an engineer or a coder, give them really the impact the role would play in delivering a project. It is important to know what candidate wants and really values. So, that's, I think, important. I also think it's also important to customize conversation basis individual and not have really common pitch for all. Everyone is quite unique, and so are their skill sets and their needs. So based on the conversation, we pitch on learning, training, mentoring, so on and so forth. Tech talent can be really found anywhere and everywhere. It's about giving passionate people with unexpected backgrounds really a chance. The worldwide shift to remote work is really a boon for tech talent, I believe. The pandemic has really changed the way people want to work for a long haul. And tech talent not only look for the company with a good sort of mission statement, an inclusive culture, but also who pays above average compensation and healthy work-life balance and allows them to sort of continue to work, really focus on not only at work, but also on their families. So the pitch need to be touching upon individual key expectation. What's also important for us is, the conversation around the purpose. We are a purpose-led organization. The purpose and opportunity should really become strong motivators and not just benefits and pay. We passionately communicate the elements of a role that make it intrinsically worth doing and rewards that comes with this as well, right? So we really mileage the strong purpose-led strategy we have for the bank, and it really resonates with the talent we want to attract to the bank, whether it's passive or active, right? The other bit of advice I think that I have, and we do, is we should really delve more on career growth opportunities and real success stories from the organization. When real people are talking through your digital tool, I think it resonates a lot in attracting the people that you want to attract. So, share success stories, emphasize on technical career progression opportunities. It's not just about recruiting the best engineers, but also nurturing young talent to help them turn into top-notch professionals. So we have an almost university equivalent of learning platform offering that we call NatWest Academy, where we offer amazing learning opportunities for colleagues to skill, reskill, build future tech skills, grow careers in a specific functional area, followed by, of course, talent development interventions, which are crafted quite carefully. So I think telling the story on possibilities when getting hired at NatWest is quite key to attracting and spotting good talent. Tech talent rages on flexibility. So talking about organization culture, flexibility, work timings, location, diversity and inclusiveness, hybrid work models, it would be an attractive proposition to attract, and in most cases, be really the deciding factor for talent when considering new position, more so in today's time when it's amplified. I'd also say investing in campus recruiting efforts, the early career will go a long way. In today's competitive landscape, we strategically invest in campus recruiting efforts, right? Through this initiative, we reach to the best candidates where they are and when they are most open to the opportunities. Our goal really should be to educate, attract, and sign on industry newcomers at an exact time that they are looking to sort of enter the corporate world. And with, of course, continuous learning investment, keeping the talent relevant and fit for future. And I think it's important to test them on resolving real-time issues, tech talent specifically, looking for appropriate responses on solutions, because the most important aspect that has helped us attract engineering talent is that, we give our candidates interesting problems to solve that are technically challenging. We let them use the latest technologies, the latest toolings to solve those problems. And as far as your question on the pre-assessed profiles, I think my view on pre-assessed profile is that the quality of pre-assessed profile is solely dependent on the accuracy and capability of the assessment tool and partners that you have. And at NatWest, I work with a team of behavioral psychologists. I have a team in the UK who is all behavioral psychologists. It's a team of PhD in behavioral sciences. This team works very, very closely with our teams to go into real depths across all assessment tools. We build across hiring stages at various levels. And of course, including technology assessments as well. So it's important hence to really identify the right internal and external experts in the area of assessment and build that is unique to our talent. We hired that in NatWest Group. Also, logically speaking, your probability of delivering enhanced speed, quality, and experience is higher with a high focus on assessment, leading really to a pool of pre-assessed profiles. And it in fact serves as a competitive edge in talent market today, especially in the tech space too.
Thank you, Kanwal. I think that really adds on to what we are trying to understand from the question. And, there's a very fine line between that identification that we do amongst picking up the best from the good Lord. So thank you so much for that. And thank you so much, everyone, Sunil, Vijay, Shyamakant, and Kanwal for this wonderful, wonderful, insightful conversation that we had today. Thank you for adding value to our panel discussion in such a manner that actually covered a lot of aspects that we would want to talk about and defining the 3 S factors of the market for us and helping me understand what you as organizations are doing. So thank you for adding value. Before we, close this up and wrap this panel discussion off, I would, help and request each one of you to give me closing remarks, please. So Kanwal, we'll begin with you, please.
Well, I think, my closing remark would be that, like I said, it's a market of skills, really, right? It's a very, very high candidate market. And, from my perspective, while we do all of that I just said, the competitive edge now is all on experience, right? And all of the body of work and the technology and the people and the processes, if we are not focused on the entire journey, the candidate journey, with candidate being right in the center, then all of that I spoke about sort of crumbles really, right? So I think it's very important to sort of keep candidate right in the center and really look at it as so we're a bank, we work on customer journeys and colleague journeys. And, I work on a lot of candidate journeys when we look at end to end. And never think in a recruiting function that, my job starts here and ends here, and another function picks up here and gives that there, the handoff sometimes can sort of drop in the experience of a candidate. In today's market, it is quite imperative for you to be completely joined up end to end to sort of have a view of where the candidate is starting and where the candidate is going into the business and what the candidate is doing. There are many leading and lagging measures that you got to sort of see, and you may report or not report on those. But if as a head of talent, if you don't have a visibility into that, you may not know what really is going on and what will be the outcome in the years to come. So I think it's quite imperative to sort of absolutely focus on the experience through the entire process. That's a competitive advantage in today's time. Yeah.
Thanks, Kanwal. Thank you so much for that. Shyamakant?
Absolutely. I think we continue to live in the market which has got plethora of opportunities, be it job opportunities on one hand or be it the talent on the other hand. And that's going to continue to remain. I think one of the important remarks would be our outlook to look at a diverse pool of talent, not just the tech talent, even if we are recruiting for a tech industry. I think that's going to be a very, very important aspect. At Kanwal also mentioned, I think if we start nurturing the talent from the campuses at the entry level, I think we have got a lot there. We have got a lot to invest there so that the so-called, from campus to corporate journey could be very soothing for these graduates who are coming up. So I think this interesting time is going to be there. We are quite optimistic and we see a very, very strong talent and competitive market ahead of us.
Thank you, Shyamakant. Sunil?
Well, I think we covered most of the point, nothing more to add. But if I may sum up, I think employers have to be visible, so that we are active. How do I say active attraction for talent? We have to remain very visible, highly visible in the market. I spoke about different methodologies of assessment. It actually does not really matter. We should be authentic enough, and the experience that we provide should give a preview to the candidate. What's the work environment and what's the work expectation? That will attract them. If we are a technology organization, the assessment methodologies should be commensurate to that, so that they get a feel about, hey, this is the nature of the work and this is the expectation. Turnaround time. Yes, we need to improve the turnaround time to provide the required talent to the organization, but turnaround time to communicate and close loop with the candidate and be fast enough is very important. to remain as an active employer in this market. So those are 2-3 things which I will focus on, and that's what OpenText does continuously.
Thanks, Sunil. Vijay?
I would say today's world requires both talent attraction and talent retention to be on the same panel. Both have become extremely important to focus on at the same time. Under talent attraction, I think it's important, whether it's a campus recruit or a full-time hire or a contractual hire or a gig hire, you need to have those things in your arsenal. On the talent retention, I think organizations will have to replace employee engagement to employee experience. And I think by doing both these things parallelly, I think this will pass.
Thank you so much, Vijay. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being a part of this conversation. It was a pleasure speaking with each one of you and knowing the insights from your end. And thank you for enlightening us with all the details.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Pleasure. Bye-bye.
So that was the amazing panel discussion we had with our esteemed experts today, everyone. Moving on, now we have the trivia quiz coming up for you again. So please ensure you watch the video and you answer the questions and win vouchers worth ₹1,000 each. So we're going to display the link again. Watch the video and please answer the questions. The link is here, everyone. You can go ahead and just look at the link, watch the video. And
this is the process for TG Pro. So the way it works is you share a job description with us. What we will do is we'll look into our database. We will then give you a list of candidates who fit exactly to your JD. And when you get the resumes, you can then match them with the JD, and then you can take your interviews. So we have a team working in the backend to ensure that the profiles that we give you are the best profiles when it comes to a match with your job description. So I'll show you an actual resume. I'll show you the platform. I'll show you how the TG Pro resume is, TG Pro profile is generated. This is how the platform looks like. We have about, we have about 2 million pre-assessed users on the platform, which is the highest database of pre-assessed profiles which exists anywhere in the world. These are the different skills for which we have the pre-assessed resumes. What we'll do is we'll look at one of the skills. Let's take machine learning as an example. So we have about 41,543 pre-assessed users on the platform in machine learning. So the user in the search, we get users by their score. So when we look at the first user, he's someone who's an MTech from IIT Kharagpur. There are different filters which are available. We can filter users by location. We can filter users by skills on their profile. We can filter users by company. We can filter users by what college they have studied in. And we can filter them by gender. We can also filter users by the experience bucket that they will fall in. If we would want to have profiles in multiple skills, we can do an and or search on the platform. What I'll do is I'll just go ahead and pull out the first profile and show you how that looks like. So all you have to do is click here and it will download the profile. Once downloaded, this is how the profile is going to look like.
all right, so that was it. You have, I hope you had a time to go through the video and you've observed it. Now you please go to the link and answer the questions which are related to this video. We will now move to the next segment and we will see if we have, our guest coming up. But before that, everyone, I would want to tell everyone that the link that we see is, is active till 5 p.m. today. Please ensure that, you have your attempts left. There are 2 attempts that you can make and you can actually add on to. So please ensure that happens. Everyone go attempt the quiz. You'll have 1,000 rupees of vouchers, one in case if you answer all the questions correctly, right? So we will go ahead and see that now. And okay, so as I mentioned that we will, this entire quiz is actually sectioned into 3, parts. It will come up to everyone today. First part we've already covered, second part is up, the third part is still left. Please ensure that you watch the videos, and this will be available till 5 p.m. As I mentioned, all you need to do is you need to click on the login button, do sign up by entering your email address, and you will get an invitation from the TechGig to participate in the contest. You fill in your details, click on the participate now button, and then you click on the register button, fill in your details, and then you can go ahead and participate in this. So that's for now. I will, now let's go ahead and see. We're waiting actually for our guest to arrive. Our next guest who will be actually filling us with the TechGig fireside conversation. So we'll be waiting for her to arrive, and then we'll move to the conversation. Meanwhile, please ensure that you go on, you watch the video. Maybe team, we can play the video again for the audience to understand and look at the video again and answer the questions. Can we please play the video again?
This is the process for TG Pro. So the way it works is you share a job description with us. What we will do is we'll look into our database. We will then give you a list of candidates who fit exactly to your JD. And when you get the resumes, you can then match them with the JD, and then you can take your interviews. So we have a team working in the backend to ensure that the profiles that we give you are the best profiles when it comes to a match with your job description. So I'll show you an actual resume. I'll show you the platform. I'll show you how the TG Pro resume is, TG Pro profile is generated. This is how the platform looks like. We have about, we have about 2 million pre-assessed users on the platform, which is the highest database of pre-assessed profiles which exists anywhere in the world. These are the different skills for which we have the pre-assessed resumes. What we'll do is we'll look at one of the skills. Let's take machine learning as an example. So we have about 41,543 pre-assessed users on the platform in machine learning. So the user in the search, we get users by their score. So when we look at the first user, he's someone who's an MTech from IIT Kharagpur. There are different filters which are available. We can filter users by location. We can filter users by skills on their profile. We can filter users by company. We can filter users by what college they have studied in, and we can filter them by gender. We can also filter users by the experience bucket that they will fall in. If we would want to have profiles in multiple skills, we can do an and or search on the platform. What I'll do is I'll just go ahead and pull out the first profile and show you how that looks like. So all you have to do is click here and it will download the profile. Once downloaded, this is how the profile is going to look like.
Okay, so that was it. I hope our resharing of video has helped you look at the video again and will help you answer the questions. I have my guest with me, so I will quickly move on to the next segment now. So hackathons and coding competitions are one of the most effective and interesting ways to find an innovative tech solution for any business problem. Developers just love to, compete, innovate, and win. What can, better place be than TechGig for technology giants, like Deloitte, Geo, Mechanic Press, UiPath, Infosys, Bosch, to name a few, and many others actually, which comes under with a lot of experience and expertise of hosting world's biggest hackathons. That is us, TechGig. Next up is our guest speaker who will talk about channelizing coding contests and hackathons for onboarding the tech talent. Please welcome Neetu Singh, Global Head Talent from FarEye.
Thank you, Sukriti.
So Neetu, thank you so much for being here, first of all, and glad that you've made it up for the live event and you're here for us to answer some questions. I will quickly move on to the things that I would know from you. So tell me, what does it take to hire the right candidate?
So there's a lot of due diligence is required in selecting a right candidate. It starts with what you're looking for, targeting the right sources, selection process, what and how you would like to assess, and then mapping the interests of the candidate to engage and onboard.
Okay, the next one. One or three things that come to your mind when you think of hiring a suitable candidate.
Interesting question. So one is competency fitment, aspiration alignment, and stability. So these three things. Yeah, every candidate is unique and has a different requirement at different career stages. So mapping it while selecting suitable candidate is a key component of hiring, in my view.
Thanks for that, Neetu. I think that was very crisp and straight. 5 most important things recruiters should look for when they're hiring a tech talent.
Openness to learn, agility, out-of-box thinking, problem solving, and most importantly, career aspiration again.
Thank you for that. I think that's very helpful for our recruiters who are watching us right now. And I'm sure you've made a note of it, dear recruiters. The next one, 2 challenges you faced while shortlisting or hiring tech talent that TechGig has actually solved for you.
Sure. So Sukriti, at FarEye, we are looking for continuous pipeline of candidates to be hired for various technical roles with good coding skills, different technology required for different roles. Through TechGig, we could build an organic pipeline, which was required for us, of the candidates who are pre-qualified for in-person interviews. So far, we had been doing a technical test and sourcing the candidates from our side, but through TechGig, it's a platform which quickly builds an inorganic pipeline for you, and you need not to take them again through a test. So that's really helpful. Yeah.
Thanks, Neetu. The last one, how would you define your association with TechGig when it comes to facilitating the coding contests and hackathons? How has your experience been so far?
So it's being successful, first of all. It gives a non-traditional sourcing and branding platform to attract the untapped talent. It also helps in seeing the inbound talent quality. From my perspective, what kind of a talent is getting attracted to FarEye. The TechGig facilitation is timely, hassle-free, and we could launch the contest in time. And the team was very supportive on any inputs or thoughts we were having in the process of launching and using it.
So thank you so much, Neetu. I think that's a customer delight that we have. And thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. I'm sure, your methodology or your sharing of experience would help others also to understand what kind of problem persists and how people are looking at cracking them and resolving them, and in terms of finding the best suitable solution to it. So thank you so much for being here, Neetu.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
So that was Neetu Singh from FarEye. We will now move to the final segment, wherein we will be showcasing a video, and this will precisely check your observation and listening power, audience. I will have next up our product lead Jagadip Turuk from TechGig team to present a product demo. You'll have to listen to this demo carefully as you have observed the other two. For our upcoming segment of the trivia quiz, you will have some questions from this demo as well. And as I mentioned, you can win vouchers also. So can we have Jagat, please?
Thank you, Sukriti. Before I get into the presentation, I would like to set some context on why we built TechGig Pro. So we were already, in a sense, working on some of the problems that the IT recruitment industry was facing. but there was a fundamental thought there. The thought was, can we do better? Some of the problems which the the tech recruitment industry was facing was of time, speed of hire. Can we get to the right talent quickly? It was of discovery. Can we figure out from a candidate's profile whether he's the right fit for my organization? And during the pandemic, we figured out that there was another problem which companies were facing, which was shortage of people taking the interviews. So the line managers also double up as interviewers for getting in tech talent. So there was a crunch there, which was leading to higher lead times in terms of hiring. So the fundamental question was there: can we eliminate line manager interviews out of the process? Was there a method to do it? So these were the thoughts with which we started, and we were looking for a solution. There were a couple of solutions that were already there from TechGig. One is the assessment product that we have, which helps you to build your tailor-made assessment as per your hiring requirement in a matter of minutes, and it helps you assess people on skills that matter. It's not just a CV-based profiling that you do, which is, as many of the panelists highlighted, inefficient because of the keyword match mechanism that most people use. We also have a contest and hackathon platform. As many of the panelists said, the contest hackathon platforms helps you identify not just people who can build solutions for some of the problems that you give. It also helps you observe people in a real work environment and understand team dynamics. So when we give our contest and hackathon solution, we are not just giving you the power of the assessment platform, but we also give you access to 70% of India's tech community. These two things were something which were already there, but the question was, could we do better? With that thought, we worked on the data that we were sitting on, which is literally a gold mine. And then we built a product which would help you address many of these problems that I spoke about. Yeah. The true cost of hiring when it comes to IT recruitment is something which is overlooked and ignored. What the line manager is usually concerned about is who are the top 10 people that have come to me. But the entire funnel mechanism which works in the backend, that is conveniently ignored. What that leads to is a very high cost and a huge lead times in terms of hiring, which is usually overlooked. So this is a typical funnel. We have taken a hybrid approach in which you start with a job listing, and also you do an assessment at the end as part of your screening mechanisms. As you can see on the screen, it starts with a job listing, which lets you post your job on a job board. Then you get interests from candidates, which is your sourcing process. Once you have sourced the candidates, you put them through a pre-screening mechanism by putting the data into an ATS, or by having people look at the resumes manually, or any other mechanisms to pre-screen candidates. Once you have pre-screened the candidates, you want to put them through a basic technical round before passing them on to the line manager for a face-to-face interview. If you look at the aggregated cost and time there, so this is primary research that we had done as part of our research mechanisms. For hiring getting about 20 interview ready candidates, you have a lead time of about 21 days, and there's an average cost of about 3.3 lakh rupees. So those are numbers that that has come from our primary research. This is something which has been validated by a lot of our clients. The only reason people don't come to know it, because what happens before the line manager does the interview is usually overlooked. So how does TechGig Pro help you address that, TechGig Pro gives you, what is TechGig Pro? So TechGig Pro is a pre-assessed profile. It is also a verified profile. So when we say pre-verified, it is a profile that has been verified by the TechGig team, and it's someone who's looking for a job. It is someone who's specifically interested in the job listing that you have. Pre-assessed means the user, the profile has been validated in terms of his skill proficiency in the skills that you are looking at. So those are two fundamental keywords which are there when it comes to the TechGig profile. The advantage there is that it helps you screen faster. So when you look at a typical resume, what does it has? It has work experience. It has the basic profile of the candidate. It has the education. That is a self-certification. It is the candidate saying that this is something that I have done. I'll show you a typical TG Pro profile. What does a TG Pro profile have in contrast to a usual CV? It has a history of the contests that you have done. It has your performance in each of those contests that you have participated in. And it also gives you a benchmark for the skill that you are looking at versus the entire industry. So that, in a sense, is a more objective way of looking at a candidate for a skill that you are looking to hire. What are the advantages there? Every company, so when we look at our data for every company, we can know that what is the skill score for a particular skill at which people typically would get hired. So suppose there's a company A, we can tell you exactly at what score for Java a candidate is likely to get hired. Now, how is that helpful? It is helpful because the candidate knows that which are the companies where the probability of he getting hired is high. And the company also knows that, okay, this is a candidate whose probability of getting hired into my company is high. So that matchmaking process is quite efficient there. Since it is pre-assessed and it is pre-validated, the conversion ratios are much higher. Since you also have the performance and upskilling history of the candidate, you can also evaluate the profile in terms of learnability, etc. Since you have a benchmark against the industry, you know where the candidate stands in that particular skill with respect to the entire industry. So when we compare TG Pro with the traditional hiring mechanisms that we have, what we have seen that the conversion ratios are much higher, and also the lead time is much lower. So when we look at a typical hiring process, the lead time is anywhere between 21 days to more than 21 days. It can go up to 2 months, 3 months, depending on the profile. In the case of TG Pro, what we have seen is that the lead time can be as low as 7 days, as Karthikeyan was pointing out a few minutes back. Now the question is, how do we do it? We run about 400 to 600 recruitment-related contests and hackathons in a year. Every time a candidate participates in any hackathon, his TG Pro profile gets updated. His TG Pro profile gets updated on the basis of his performance in each of the contests that he has participated in. We also do 2 large events. One is TechGig Geek Goddess, which we concluded 2 months back. And we also do something called TechGig Code Gladiators, which Shukriti has been highlighting throughout the session. So these are 2 large funnels of assessing candidates and putting them into the TG Pro database. So I'll briefly touch on Code Gladiators in the next slide, because that's our key mechanism of adding TG Pro profiles into the system. So we add about 250,000 to 500,000 pre-assessed users annually into the TG Pro database, and this is across skills. So we have TG Pro database for more than 80 tech related skills in the database. This has been the history of Code Gladiators. Why this slide is important is the sheer scale at which we do this. Every user, so when we look at last year, we had about 3.16 lakh users who registered for it. Every user who participated in TechGig Code Gladiators contributed, became a part of the TG Pro database. So this adds about 200,000 profiles to the TG Pro database every year, and is our biggest source of adding profiles to the TG Pro database. We also do internal skill assessments. So these are skill assessments that candidates can come and they can take on the platform. Most of the contests and tests that we do are proctored. So we do an audio video proctoring, we do switch tab proctoring, and we also prevent things like people going out of the window, etc. So that helps make the TG Pro profile more robust because the sanctity of the tests that they have taken, that is something which is ensured by the platform. Now, what makes TG Pro skill-based resume better than a conventional resume? This is something that I covered briefly earlier. What a conventional resume tells you is what the candidate is willing to tell you on his profile. What the TG Pro resume tells you is how the candidate has performed in the skills that you are looking to hire. So, and these tests are proctored, the sanctity, the integrity of these tests are maintained. So when you look at the profile, you know, okay, this is someone who's at a 1 percentile when it comes to Java. So the guy has to be really good at Java. So the fundamental difference is in the conventional resume, it's a self-certification. In the TG Pro resume, it's his performance, it's his historical performance. It is his interest area that is that he likes to consume content on or learn about, that you can look at and figure out that whether the candidate is the right fit for your company or not. This is the process for TG Pro. The way it works is you share a job description with us. What we will do is we'll look into our database. We will then give you a list of candidates who fit exactly to your JD, and when you get the resumes, you can then match them with the JD, and then you can take your interviews. So we have a team working in the backend to ensure that the profiles that we give you are the best profiles when it comes to a match with your job description. So Nabomita had briefly covered about the TG Pro resume. So I'll show you an actual resume. I'll show you the platform. I'll show you how the TG Pro resume is, TG Pro profile is generated. And then I'll also briefly show you a comparison between two TG Pro profiles for two different skills for the same candidate. So that will give a sense of how one particular candidate can be a good fit for a certain skill, but will not be a good fit for another skill. Yeah, so this is how the platform looks like. We have about we have about 2 million pre-assessed users on the platform, which is the highest database of pre-assessed profiles which exists anywhere in the world. These are the different skills for which we have the pre-assessed resumes. What we'll do is we'll look at one of the skills. Let's take machine learning as an example. So we have about 41,543 pre-assessed users on the platform in machine learning. Yeah, so the user, in the search, we get users by their score. So when we look at the first user, he's someone who's an MTech from IIT Kharagpur. There are different filters which are available. We can filter users by location. We can filter users by skills on their profile. We can filter users by company. We can filter users by what college they have studied in, and we can filter them by gender. We can also filter users by the experience bucket that they will fall in. If we would want to have profiles in multiple skills, we can do an and or search on the platform. What I'll do is I'll just go ahead and pull out the first profile and show you how that looks like. So all you have to do is click here and it will download the profile. Once downloaded, this is how the profile is going to look like. Oh, so this is someone who has 17 years of experience and is very active on the platform. So the green, the green ones, green bubbles are the ones for which there's a profile score which is generated. The blue and the orange ones are the ones for which there's no profile score generated. So if we scroll down, so when we look at this profile, we know this is someone who's very active on the platform, has taken all kind of tests on the platform. If you click on, if you click on download here, it gives you a choice of what skills that you want to choose. So I chose artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science, and downloaded the profile. It will give you the score and it will give you the score and comparative analysis of all the skills, but the contest listings will be only for the tests for the skills that you have chosen. So when we look at this particular profile, he is at a top 1% when it comes to big data, top 1% when it comes to machine learning, top 1% when it comes to data science, top 1% when it comes to SQL, top 1% when it comes to C, and a whole lot of other technologies. A top 1% for cloud computing, top 1% for artificial intelligence. And it also tells you what topics has he been assessed in. So when we look at big data, the candidate has been assessed in Hadoop, Hive, Pig. So we would have questions around these topics in the tests that this user has taken. And he's at 100 percentile for all the skills. So when we scroll down further, when we scroll down further, it will give a listing of the different contests related to artificial intelligence, data science, and machine learning, the 3 skills that we chose when we generated the resume. So we can see that the candidate has been participating in a lot of AI and data science related contests, and he's been in the top 20-30 percentile for most of the contests, and he's been in the top 3 percentile for some of the contests. The contest complexity is also given. So it gives you a sense of whether he's been performing well in difficult contests or he has been performing well in easy contests. It also tells you what skills the contests were in. And if you further scroll down, if you further scroll down, it will have a listing of the different webinars and learning sessions he has attended, and it will also give you a basic profile. So when we look at this profile is more actionable. This profile gives insights about the user's interest area. It gives you insights about the user's tech proficiency in the different skills that you are hiring for. What we will do now is I'll show you one profile which gives you a sense of comparison for one candidate for 2 different skills. So this is this was a requirement which had come in from a client, and they wanted to hire women candidates in DevOps and Azure. So we had one candidate who fit into both the profiles. But when we look at her DevOps profiles, she's in the top 95%. There's a 95% match. She's in the top 2% in DevOps, top 9% when it comes to cloud computing, etc. So she's in the top percentile bucket when it comes to DevOps and cloud computing. For DevOps, she's a perfect match, 95%. But the same candidate, when we pulled out her profile for Azure, she was at a 75% match. So the same candidate, she's been taking part in contests for both DevOps and cloud computing. In DevOps, it's a perfect match. In the case of Azure, it's not so much a perfect match. So what the algorithm does in the backend is from the search, it figures out how your performance has been in the skills that you are looking for. It also looks at whether there's an experience or location-based criteria which has been fed in. Your performance is the most important criteria. If you have done well there, then your match score will be high. The next will be experience and location. So we can see that what the engine does is it takes your requirement, it looks at the candidate's performance with respect to your requirement, and then it generates a profile and stack ranks people on the basis of their profile match. So this candidate is most likely to be accepted for a DevOps role in this particular company and was a fit match for the company, but not so much for an Azure profile. That kind of clarity will be very difficult to get from the traditional CV. When you look at two comparable CVs, you would not know who would be a better match for what profile. What the TG Pro profile helps you do is objectively look at a candidate's profile and stack rank them with 100% surety that this is a candidate who's better than the next one. The next one is better than the third one. So it helps you objectively do that, which is why the conversion ratios are high, because the skill proficiency bit is taken care of there. And since the mechanism in the backend also does a validation that the candidate is interested in your company, the conversion ratios are high there. So that brings me to the end of my presentation, but I would like to leave everyone with a thought. So one of the problems which I had highlighted was the bandwidth crunch that many companies are facing when it comes to interviewing candidates and getting them in. So there's one proposition that we made to a lot of companies, and which was kind of accepted by a lot of companies, that why don't you look at a TG Pro profile and then you can eliminate the line manager interview. This is a candidate who has performed consistently and has been a top ranker in the skills that you are looking for. Can we do away with the line manager interview and just do a fitment interview and get him onboarded into the company? So I think that's where the industry is shifting towards. And since it's a teething problem that a lot of companies are facing, TG Pro profile addresses that, and it helps you bring down your time to hire, bring down your cost of hiring, and also helps you get better candidates in the smallest amount of time. Thank you, Sukriti.
Thank you so much, Jagat. Now it's time for us to build some excitement. As I mentioned earlier, you had to be very careful while watching this video. We have the next section of the trivia quiz, which is the last one. And you'll have to answer questions based on the video that you've watched. So can we have the link, please? So here's the link, everyone. Please click and go answer the questions, win vouchers. I think this is one of the most engaging sections for our audience. So please go ahead, answer the questions for us. Please ensure that, there are only 2 attempts. So you have to answer the questions in these 2 attempts only. The link will be live till 5 p.m. today. We are at 4:15 already. So 45 minutes more to go. The link will be live and you can actually redefine your attempts and win in case if you haven't or in case you've not completed the score. So go ahead, attempt. This is only here for 5 minutes, and then we'll move to the conclusion of our event today. The clock is ticking, everyone. So these trivia quizzes are specifically to check your observing power, your listening power, how much, would you take interest in knowing something, reading something, and how careful you are in terms of answering something, of course. So you will see, we've already passed 2 minutes. You just have 3 minutes more, audience, and then we'll go to the other section of our conclave. So the link is live in front of you. In case if you don't complete the score right now, you have the attempts till 5 p.m. It will be live on our platform till 5 p.m. today. And to mention, the results will be announced by end of this week on our social media platforms. So please ensure you keep on checking our social handles in order to know if you've won the vouchers or not. We will be wrapping up this event after this. So this is the last attempt that you have. The last section that we are addressing is the last attempt that you have. 3 minutes, 2 minutes more to go. Hurry up, audience. You just have 2 minutes to take this up. I hope you're having a good time learning, with these quizzes and with the kind of conversations that we have with our experts today. So we are trying to facilitate as much as possible in terms of knowing what the industry is working around and what's going on in terms of the technical recruitment and the kind of growth, the kind of strategies, the kind of implementations that are happening across verticals, and what industry experts are actually working upon and how they're trying to modify and involve their processes, and what collaborations and what partnerships are working out for them in order to get the best results when it comes to technical recruitment. So the DG Pro profile that Jagat spoke about is one of them. And the more you answer the question, the more thorough you'll be with the product, and you may just go and recommend this to your peers, or if you would want to recommend it to anyone else who would want to have the best tech professionals placed and also reduced that of their hiring process. All right, I think we're moving closer to the time. 1 more minute to go, and then we will close this link for you. You may refer to this later. All right, there you go. Now, the time is up for everyone, 5 p.m. In case if you've not attempted right now, this link will be live till 5 p.m. We will now move to the last segment. This actually calls for a wrap. So now I would like to invite Akshat Gupta, Senior Business Head, TechGig, for the vote of thanks.
Hey, hi, Sukriti. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to me, and I would like to thank everyone who all attended this event, and the guest speakers and panelists in place, where we not only understood a lot of things and initiatives which you guys have been taking in your respective organizations, but we learned a lot. In fact, that how exactly things are shaping up in the current market. So I would like to start with the fireside chat sessions of Mr. Sandeep Pendra from Persistent Systems, Chief People Officer, where we understood we honestly understood the overall journey of Persistent, of engaging with TechGig, not only with respect to Code Gladiators event, but also with respect to how TechGig has been a strategic partner in terms of not only the hiring opportunities at Persistent by providing the assessment platforms and likewise coding contest in place, and also we got to understand that how we are a part of the core culture of the core learning culture of Persistent Systems, where it takes a lot of efforts for the organization to put time, efforts, and investment to engage not only the internal audiences in the right way, but also giving them a right learning platform. So we understood that how strategically we are not only partnering with Persistent Systems in these initiatives, but how they are, as an organization also, Persistent Systems is playing an important role in the market. We understood also that how important and how core the role is of persistent systems in the Smart India Hackathon, which is the government initiatives which is there and year on year which goes in place. I would also like to thank Ms. Neetu Singh from FARI, wherein we understood the key hiring initiatives and basically the key components of hiring which plays an important role. So we understood one is of course the competency fitment. We understood the the aspiration alignment, and we also understood the stability. These are the three important pointers which were mentioned by Ms. Singh. We also understood the key parameters while we are hiring we should look at, and the overall experience of the organization of FARI of partnering with TechGig, while we as a platform we could help them in generating an organic and a pre-qualified funnel of the talent for their hiring opportunities in place. Now coming to the panel discussion, I would like to thank all the panel members starting from Mr. Shyamakant Mishra from AMDOCS. We understood that we got to understand a couple of points, like how basically the upcoming trend of the people analytics is playing an important role, not only to forecast the upcoming hiring needs, the trends and all, but also to have a right pipeline of people in place. That was one of the important factors we understood. We also understood from him that how proactive approach of talent building process is helping in reducing the hiring timelines. So in which we understood that how a strategic partnership of TechGig and the other initiatives at AMDOCS is helping them by by nominating certain subject matter experts within the organization and giving them a platform to engage with the right audiences, how to build that thought leadership for the kind of organization, for the kind of work we do in our organization. That's what we really understood. I would like to thank Mr. Sunil Sankar, from OpenText. We also understood a couple of understandings, which is absolutely relevant in the market, that how consistent, an organization needs to be, while in the process of attracting talent by creating a virtual pool, how engaging we need to be. So rather than, a candidate engagement to a candidate experience, the journey, so that's something we understood in place. There were two more important things which we understood. One is the skill benchmarking. So it's just not a skill benchmarking, but also a competency benchmarking. Helps an organization to identify the right fitment as the right talent for any kind of core technology roles. So we understood that. And lastly, but more importantly, we understood from him that it's just not important, that, to hire a right team, right talent in the organization. It is also important, how do we maintain such talent? How do we sustain that talent in the organization by giving them a constant upskilling, opportunities within the organization, having a robust learning culture within the organization. That really helps, right? I would also like to thank Mr. Vijay Sivaram, from Quess. This is the kind of engagement we understood from him, that how it's all about having a right ecosystem built through various means of talent. It is just not. So we understood that it's more of a reactive approach the organization is moving towards as a trend, rather than a reactive approach. It's more of a proactive approach we are approaching to. We also understood the kind of challenges which any recruiters or recruitment industry is facing, because when we talk about hiring managers, they there is a hybridization of CV which comes in, a kind of all skills and tech stacks and combinations we need to have. But it is important for us to understand that for a specific role, what are the key skills and parameters which are important for us to identify the right talent and engage with them further, right? And we also understood at last from him that how skill assessment process is helping in the industry to overcome certain challenges, how proctoring systems are helping in the industry to overcome certain challenges of the recruitment process and helping in reducing the hiring tat in place. At last, on the panel discussion, I would like to thank Mr. Kanwal Kaul from NatWest. We understood that how important it is for an organization to have a constant engagement with their talent pool through different mediums, talking about your values, your culture, the opportunities in your organization, the kind of work we do around certain tech stacks, and likewise around diversity and inclusions, right? So these are certain things which we understood. We also got to know, when we talk about, spotting a right talent, for an organization, how it is important, how important it is to communicate the impact of the candidate contribution, as a job role, and aligning his contribution towards the organization vision and success. That is very much important. We understood how a content-rich engagement helps the organization to build a kind of, right talent pool in place, definitely capturing the maximum mind share of the tech professionals whom we are looking at. And it also, we also understood that, about the NatWest Academy for dynamic learning and growth opportunities within the organization. So these are certain things which really helped us understanding, what kind of initiatives the organizations are taking, and not to miss, but how pre-assessed talent pool, how assessment and pre-assessed talent pool are playing an important role in the market, while not only in terms of talent attraction and engagement, but basically identifying the right talent pool, reducing your hiring timelines, and getting the right fitment for the organization. This is what we understood. At last, I would like to thank Jagat, for giving us an understanding that how the pre-assessed pool of, TechGig, or basically the importance of pre-assessed pool of TechGig, helping the organization not only reaching out to their talent pool, just in time, but also helping them closing getting the relevant and passive talent pool in place, for closing the positions ASAP. And at last, thank you so much, Sukriti, for hosting this particular event so fantastically, and looking forward for many more such sessions.
Thank you so much, Akshat, and you fantastically summarized our conclave today. So thank you for making notes of that. And audience, I hope you had a great time, learning and knowing about what industry experts are doing and what TechGig's association with these experts mean, and how it's, basically ferring out for everyone. So that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had a wonderful time knowing what everybody's doing around and what are the current trends of recruitment when it comes to the technical talent. Before I sign off, once again, we'll declare the results of the trivia quiz on our social handles by end of this week. So stay tuned. We are coming back with another conclave on February 1st, 2022. Stay tuned for more such insightful conversations to TechGig. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Please stay safe and take care.